When he became the general, that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Him becoming the general was not some moment that was like, wow, look at Gara, so inspirational.
What?
I did like his.
Nah,
he-
come on,
when
don't
he
do
was-
that.
Was saying in our group chat that Shippuden is mid, so I did some Zen, I did some meditating before this show because I knew that whatever you said is gonna piss me, because one of the only things I'm really biased about when it comes to manga is Naruto, so I really need to hear why you think Shippuden is mid.
I mean, is he 100% wrong about that though?
First, we're gonna say we're gonna
hear it. I'm not saying it's the best. The original pre-time skip is better, but like mid, that
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm
playing devil's advocate.
if I pop off,
I think they're about equal. If I'm being honest,
what Naruto on what?
like pre and post time skip. I think
You
about
think
equal.
Really? Wow.
I don't think so. First of all, I'm gonna clarify. I said mid. I literally said like 6, 7, not like 4.
Yeah,
5.
what here's the thing, right? What does a 6 or 7 mean to you? Because like some people think 7 is average. I don't think it's average, but some people think
7 is like a good, okay. It's okay. It's good.
like it's good.
Shippuden only. I think part 1 is like great, excellent to me. I don't like anything in Shippuden really like past the pain arc. I feel like it kind of slowed down.
So you liked pre-pain arc
A lot.
And then what happened? So after pain, you had the 5 Kage Summit. You know, like 5 Kage Summit?
Not really.
And then the war.
The Great
I
War.
wasn't really too high on the war, especially did you see Kaguya coming?
No, I don't think it was that aspect was foreshadowed well, but the thing about it is
That was ice on the cake for me. I didn't like the war until
I don't know if it wasn't foreshadowed the best, but
So where do you rank it at? If you take out the
sense,
Great
though.
War, if you take out the Great War,
if it ended at the pain arc,
yeah,
it's like an 8, 9.
I ain't gonna lie, but I feel like it would have been bad if it ended at the pain arc though.
It wouldn't have made sense. No.
it wouldn't have made sense.
But you just up to that point, it was a 9.
Let's say if there was a hypothetical, it all played out perfectly and it ended right there. I'd say it's like an 8 or
So that war arc.
So basically, it's the
so
war
bad
I
that
don't
it
like the
drops
war
it
arc.
down to mid.
I don't like it. I don't like it. What's wrong with the war?
I don't know. I'm indifferent about the war arc, bro. I'm not really. I can't really say it was mid, bro. Like,
I feel like
I'm not gonna lie. Naruto for me is how you niggas defend Dragon Ball Z, honestly. So
no, I'm about to defend Naruto.
I'm ignorant about Naruto.
Naruto for me is my favorite anime of all time.
Yeah,
But
like I'm
even I can be. I mean, being objective, I think it's great for moments. As a whole cohesive thing,
moments.
I think it falls.
I will say this. I do
parts
think some of the vibes from the original Naruto, I think they did lose some of it in Shippuden. I will say that. Like some of the aesthetic
what
and stuff.
aspects?
Like the aesthetic. Does that make sense? Like I don't know how I feel like it's like the aesthetic of the first one compared to
You mean like the tone?
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, a little bit. Like I felt like in Naruto, the first season, I felt like characters seemed to me were a little bit more intimidating. You know, like when we first met Zabuza and Gaara and those characters, I felt like those characters seemed more menacing because of like the vibe that Naruto was in. It seemed a little bit more high stakes. And I do think when Shippuden came around, and I didn't really still feel that same type of like vibe. But I still again think Shippuden was phenomenal. It's just I don't really know how to explain what I'm trying to say because it's like I'm speaking from like an aesthetic version.
Do you think because the scale was smaller? Like the
I
It's
think
more concentrated.
I'm
I'm
part of it.
because
So
I think them expanding it was because so to give an example, you're saying stuff felt menacing because like we learned that Zabuza is this crazy assassin. He had to kill all of his classmates. This dude's deranged. Or Orochimaru in the forest, but that could probably be because the scale is smaller and it was the characters weren't as powerful to fight against that. They were truly helpless. So maybe I mean I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
For me, it's not necessarily a lack
get
of
it,
tension.
but-
It's not like the lack of tension or like the tone or anything. I just feel like other than like the core characters and like Shikamaru, I felt like a lot of people were abandoned.
Facts.
Whereas
But
I can remember in part one, even minor stuff like the interactions we get from like the proctors, how they react to situations. I felt a lot more in touch with a lot of the characters than I did in the second part.
but
I just feel like
about
outside of like the Akatsuki, Sasuke and Naruto, and Shikamaru.
what about like Tsunade, Jiraiya?
Jiraiya, yes.
What about Gaara? Gaara had a lot of he had a lot of stuff.
What?
He did. He was one of the most prominent characters in Shippuden.
Like
At the very beginning.
No, do I?
No,
wait,
throughout.
Yeah.
When he became the general, that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Him becoming the general was not some moment that was like, wow, look at Gaara, so inspirational.
What?
I did like his
Nah,
When
come
he-
on,
when
don't
he
do
was-
that. Don't
when
do
he
that,
was
Myles.
completely
Myles, don't do
isolated,
that.
hated everybody,
Myles, don't do
hated
that.
everybody
I'm sorry, I
believing
don't care.
in
Myles,
that.
To me, his conversation
Myles, don't
between
do
to
that.
me, his conversation between him and Sasuke to me was a better moment and was something
But when
that
he was
should live in
crying,
a higher regard.
when he started
Well,
crying,
yeah, he was crying because he really
Another moment.
he truly
Yeah.
understood
Random,
Sasuke.
random. Take your goddamn headset off right
JJ,
now.
if Shippuden is mid, then JJK is mid is just a horrible take. That doesn't make sense.
no,
No,
JJK is not mid though. Come on now.
That
You
doesn't
really
make
need to
sense.
put in the aspect of like what Shippuden did for the manga and anime community because it is one of the most impactful and overall broad aspect. Like it's one of the biggest parts of anime and manga history. So and it also checks every single box. You want emotion? You have the Jiraiya's death, and even before that, Asuma's death, and how that affected Shikamaru, and how that turmoil.
Yeah,
and
I
how
love
we
that.
Shikamaru-
That's some of my favorite stuff in Shippuden. I love that.
Can I bring up a
Yeah,
point
but
real
I'm saying
quick?
like also you want speeches. You have the pain speech. You have Madara speech. Yo,
Gaara's speech.
when the I'm him moments,
Madara doesn't move me. Madara doesn't move me.
because he's
Madara doesn't move me.
Okay, let me say this real quick. Here's my thing, right? I don't feel like the characters were abandoned because their character arcs. A lot of characters, their arcs finished in part one, right? Like, so for example, if I go to One Piece, for example, I'm not expecting a character from like Drum Island or Annie's Life. Like, I don't expect every character to get more moments later on if their character arc finished. Right, like that's just not a and I think people look at like Rock Lee and them as like main cast members, they're side characters, and so when their characters are finished, the world has to expand, right? Like I need to learn about the history of the world, so I focus on Madara and Hashirama. I need to learn about how the Kages interact with each other, so I need to focus on the Rock Kage, Killer Bee, Gar and them, Tsunade. I need to figure out about the Akatsuki members, so I need to focus on Pain. I need to find out more about the Uchiha Massacre, so I focus on Sasuke and Itachi's relationship. Like I feel like those characters, they were there for a big part of it was world building, but now as we're expanding, you have to branch out to more characters, right? Like I don't like to me, outside the war arc, Lee has no place in the story. He just doesn't like outside the like Neji has no place because we're focusing on different things. And we're building to a massive war that the Akatsuki are putting on, right? And their stories unfortunately do not tie to those characters, so I think it's fine.
Ty, to your point, people confuse like their emotional connection to a character to the connection that character has to the overall story. So like you said, Rock Lee's story, his whole arc was done in part one, basically.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Like Neji too. So it's like those stories are done, and then like when we get to Shippuden, and like he opens up the world even more, we get to see the Akatsuki, we get to see Pain and like the Uchiha stuff and like the Naruto. We get to see all of that because that's the main part of the story. Like these side niggas, they're the side niggas. Like they were never the main focus.
And I'll say this real quick. I think that if I were to, because I get it that you want more moments from characters that you like, but I think that if Kishima has a story he wants to tell, the only way I could see those characters getting moments if they were already important to that arc and they got a moment. For example, right, Rock Lee in the Kazekage Retrieval arc, right? I think it'd been probably interesting to get his perspective on Gaara because he understands. Like a big part of that arc was people respecting the change that Gaara made, even his own village. Remember, they didn't even respect his Kazekage.
Yeah.
So giving Rock Lee as someone who's seen Gaara's change full circle, he's seen the worst and the best of Gaara. Getting his perspective probably would have been cool. You didn't need it, but it'd been cool because you get it from Naruto. So so narratively, he's not that is even necessary, but it'd been a nice addition, I guess. But I don't know. Like I don't know where else he would have done.
There were more emotional moments, there were more dynamic moments, of course, speeches, more complex characters. They're all in Shippuden.
More complex characters?
Pain, Itachi, Pain. You get more depth on Itachi, Obito, Madara. Yes. What are we talking about? So, you can really say
Madara's
like
you think
like
Madara's
almost
a complex character?
compared to the character some of the characters were introduced in part 1.
I
Yes.
wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah. So if you're talking about, are you talking about complex from like? Because complexity is just a character changing. So like Naruto's a complex character, while Naruto's not, because he remains the same.
More like
So are you talking about like from just like
characters have more depth.
Okay. So
I'd still disagree.
yeah, I mean, if you go Madara's backstory, Hashirama, that gives him a lot of depth. I think it does.
Obito's overall story. Yeah.
I think
we also get Naruto's parents. So I feel like
Naruto's Itachi's overall story. Like
we get more characters, sure, and we get their stories, but it doesn't make their stories better than the characters we got in part 1.
I agree with that, but I feel like Madara has a better story than most people. Like, what characters in part 1 outside the main cast have a better story than Madara
or Itachi?
Well, Itachi I can be. I'm not going to even try to be Itachi.
Pain/Naruto,
like you have Hashirama being one of him growing up in war. And him riving Hashirama, them becoming friends, building a village together, him facing discrimination of the Leaf Village, even he's one of the founders, the rivalry between the Uchiha and the Shinju, like him being a reincarnate, how that ties to Naruto's relationship. Who has a better story?
Or Naruto/Pain, where you see like how he was raised in war, then Jiraiya put him under his wing, and then like he thought he was gonna be the child of prophecy, and then you see the guy die. Then you see what he goes through, and then how he unlocks the Rinnegan, and then how he transfers over to the Akatsuki. Then everything that happens there. Then his like interaction with Naruto and everything like that. What character has something in depth as something like that in part 1?
So Kai actually said one of my picks was going to be Orochimaru. I think Kimimaro has a pretty fleshed out story in that regard.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Let's only something clear. Like, I feel like a simple story can be hit. Like Rock Lee's story was simple, but it hit. Like like Kishimoto's execution was just so fantastic. It was a story about a kid that was an underdog that didn't want to give up. Like that, it was simple to the point, but it was executed so well that he's one of the most beloved characters. Like someone said they like Rock Lee more than like Pain, even though Pain's story is more tied to the main plot. Kishimoto just executed that simple story so well, though.
Myles, do you think the ending of Shippuden has skewed your view of Shippuden in totality?
No, I just act like it didn't happen.
So yes.
Wait, are you talking about the Kage part? Or what about Naruto and Sasuke?
No, so I just act like it didn't.
That ending fight, I like the ending fight. You talking about the very end?
Yeah, Naruto and Sasuke, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like all of the stuff.
It was just the Black Zetsu part.
Oh, that stuff is not in my brain. I don't even.
I go a lot to like it makes sense, but people say, oh, Zetsu's always weird. No one wanted that. Let's be clear. No one wanted it. It makes sense. It's consistent, but no one.
There's a reason why Kishimoto took like a 2-week break because he said like he had to figure out what to do.
I ain't gonna lie. If they just beat Madara and then Naruto Sasuke fight, I think it'd be more well received. I ain't gonna lie.
It could be nostalgia. All I'm really trying to say is I connected with a lot more of the characters in part 1 than I did part 2. Like I like Choji a lot in part 1. I like Neji a lot and him coming around from the the time we saw him in the tuning exam to the retrieval arc. I like Neji in that regard. I say Shikamaru in Shippuden is way better, obviously, but I also like. I don't know. I like the way a lot of the young characters were done, and I feel like there was just something missing in how a lot of the Shippuden characters are handled. Like everybody loves Itachi, and I'm not gonna say nothing crazy.
He's okay. He's not my favorite either.
To me, that big reveal it hit, but it wasn't like some grand moment where I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was just like, oh, this makes sense now. Like, this is how it's brought full circle. I just feel like there was nothing that made me go, ah, or whoa, or really shocked me and shit. It just didn't happen. I didn't even think Obito's big reveal as the person who was under the rock in the past. To me, even that wasn't some crazy, like, oh my God, Obito. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, I have a question. Were you reading it? Because I was reading Naruto when it was coming out, and that's why
I was reading it as well.
Yeah, because I gonna lie, when that Obito reveal came out, we read the chapter online. I feel like that was kind of crazy. Now everyone kind of knew a little bit, but it was like
I feel like we knew.
No, but I think that made it kind of good though. Like it means there was building blocks to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Man, that shit was obvious as hell. Let's be
I
honest.
mean, we all knew who Naruto's
I think,
dad was.
I think Dobby's was too, but Dobby's was excellent though. I think obvious can be.
I mean, we knew like
so-
as soon as we saw what the fourth Hokage looked like, we knew who was like.
Yeah,
oh.
'cause I think that's a bit of dramatic irony. Like we know more than the characters do. Like the characters don't know that Dobby is Toya, but we know. But we're just more so focused on their reaction to what we know.
Right. No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Like I'll say how I feel about the Shippuden characters. It's kind of how, to bring it back to One Piece, Lani. It's kind of how I feel about Chopper, Brooke, and Frankie. Like I don't even remember these niggas' names. Like, but when I compared them to how they're handled before the time skip, I love those characters. It just feels like they're missing something. And One Piece gets the benefit of the doubt because it's still going, but they're just lacking something compared to Zoro, Sanji, Luffy. Like, why am I fucking with Yamato more than I fuck with Chopper? I feel like Chopper's been reduced just to a kid. He was way tougher.
One critique of Oda since Wano is that since before Wano, Frankie's been talking about Vegapunk. So I assumed from a very early stage when he was talking about Vegapunk, how Vegapunk's like the greatest scientist or whatever, he's gonna receive some type of power up or like because everyone gets like a different power. He's gonna get something when he meets Vegapunk, and that just
it didn't happen. And it's not even about power. Fuck power. I'm the power guy, right? Fuck power. Nothing happened between them two niggas.
He's just a fan. He's just like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Like no sort of like passing on knowledge, no teaching, nothing. Just I met Vegapunk. I got stars in my eyes. Let's move on. That's corny to me. It's just corny to me.
Unimpressed. My boy said I'm unimpressed, bro.
All right, you can.
All right, y'all Gucci now?
Yeah, we good. Me and Lani don't have no beef, man. He just thought I was saying Naruto whack. That's not what I'm saying, man.
Because we didn't, because I practice a speech in the shower, like just straight, like cussing you
thought
out.
I was gonna be gross. No, I'm not gonna be gross.
I was just cussing you out. Like
you got me in the shower, crazy though.
Nah, his reason's valid.
In the shower is crazy.
Yeah, I had some one line. She was like, "Oh, Naruto's made. What's your mom's best dish?" That shit made like I had like a bunch of more. I was ready.
Not his mama.
You go violate Mama Myles is crazy.
Bro, say your mom's.
All right.